It's a group that I formed about probably 12 months ago, and it's about changing the spin, the images of what is the imagery that we're presented with, because the belief is that we are consuming far too much, and it's very hard for us not to consume, to keep on consuming, because we're getting told all the time through our media to consume. And it's not that consumption itself is bad, but it's what we're consuming. So what we're consuming has to change. So no longer, I think, is it okay to have a big V8 full drive, take it down to the supermarket, put 2 bags of shopping in it and drive it home. It's not okay. It poisons. It's poisoning us, killing us. We're all going to die if we keep doing this. So we have to change. So the imagery of that has to change. Also, what is sustainable? It's not sustainable to have a Porsche and a Ferrari. To have lots and lots of petrol cars. We need some images of beautiful electric cars. We need images of houses with solar, hot water. We need all our housing. All of these things have to change. It was a little article in the newspaper actually, and it's like I was just I was aware that we were having a few problems in the world. I think you'd have to be reasonably ignorant to think that there was no problems in the world as regard to environmentally and climate change, and there's still debates, but it was a wonderful little thing, and it was about page 9 of the newspaper, and it just said that the readings were off the map, and it was tucked away, and it got me really thinking, why is this little article? Because it basically said the ice caps are melting at a phenomenal rate, and I thought, well, that's really important. Why isn't that on the front page? And I started digging around a little bit more, and I realised that there is a sense of, not a conspiracy, but that people are kind of just going on and just pretending that nothing is happening. There's a sense of pretense, and for me, I wanted to do something about it. I have children, and I want them to have a reasonable life, so for me it's about changing the parameters of how we live. We have to live in a more sustainable way and not produce. Be very aware of what it costs, what's the environmental cost, not just, okay, I buy something, it's $250, but what does that cost the world for me to have that? Like a nice little new cell phone. My old cell phone's gone off a bit, I just thought, oh yeah, but it doesn't do pics. It's not pics. It hasn't got pics. I can't bear it. I can't live without pics. So I dump it, and eventually it just ends up in landfill, and it's got an amazing, incredible array of technology that's in there, and all of a sudden it's obsolete, we throw it away. It's that whole thing. It's got to change. Sorry, we need to do something else now. So that's where I'm coming from, is that. But it's not so much that consumption is bad, but the way we consume it. So Carbon Reduction Association does things like hassles computer companies that are not taking back their computers. Recently, hassling in New Zealand, Telstra Clear put out a nice little envelope that was clear envelope with a clear piece of plastic in it, telling everyone about their new business plan. And so the association is a group of about 200 people throughout New Zealand and other countries. But so there's New Zealand targets and world targets, and then the New Zealand targets, we just all en masse contact Telstra Clear and tell them how stupid they are. And it's very interesting because they apologise profusely and say, well, we're really sorry, we didn't think about that. So really it's about trying to get people to think. So if you don't do anything, if I'm a person that's has never recycled, has no interest in the carbon, and you say to me, well, why should I? Or what's the point? Or they wouldn't allow me to buy this stuff if it wasn't bad, if it wasn't good, kind of thing. My answer to that is if I put you in a spaceship with some resources, would you take those resources and just consume them and then chuck them into the corner to where they rot and let gas out until the point where you'd asphyxiate yourself? And I think most people would answer no. that they wouldn't do that. Or alternatively, the same thing if you were an aquatic creature, if I put you in a container and again gave you some resources and let you use them, and then you use what you need and you blend them together and you make some poison, and then you put them over there until your water's poisoned and then you slowly die. Would you do that? No, you wouldn't, because it wouldn't make sense. And you know, if you had a government, the government would make it illegal and all of those things. Well, we live in a container called the Earth, and it's this very small sphere, and it has its own little thing called an atmosphere around it, and people, you know, we know this, and it's tiny in the sphere of things, and we're really collectively messing it up. So I would say, you know, it's about the scale, and again, to try and get so I think of it that way. You know, people say, you know, don't shit in your own backyard. You know, well, our backyard is actually quite large, and we're doing a lot of it. You know, and that's the attitude. I'm no longer allowed to go to my PTA meeting at my school and light up a big fat cigar and sit at the table and smoke my cigar while I'm talking to all of the ladies and the mums, you know, the dads and the mums, because it's bad for them. But I'm allowed to buy 10 cell phones and throw them in the rubbish and bury them and let the toxic waste bubble up, because no one is actually too concerned at the moment, because they can't see it. Can't see me doing it. And that's the big difference. So I would say, you know, we have to change. We you know, those people, if you're doing nothing, you're stupid. Some people are already doing quite a lot, and know, you know, some people, you know, say, oh look, you know, but I'm already doing my recycling. Or a great quote that we had from one of our local councillors was, well, we do EcoFest, which is, you know, so some people do a little bit already and they don't want to do anymore. And to those people I say, well, you know, that's great, but it's, again, it's a matter of the tipping point. We need to en masse say no. There's already people that, and you know those people that go into the supermarket and they say, no, I don't want that plastic bag. And then there's others who don't want the plastic bag, but they take it because they don't want to make a scene. So they take the plastic bag and they go home and they feel shameful because they've got this, you know, because it's against their politics. And so to those people I say, well, you just got to just get over it, you know. No, you take the plastic bag back. Or even, in fact, I think having some parties would be good to kind of do that on purpose. You've got to shake up, tell your neighbours, move it on, help people.